levels. So there are a lot of health benefits to proper breathing. And we're going to kind of go through a little bit of that today. I'll explain during a few exercises. Now, the exercises we're going to go through today with the breathing are based off of the main body weight exercises. Some of the main body weight exercises that you can do safely. We'll go through modified versions of those. And also I'll be instructing on how to breathe properly through those exercises. Now, some additional benefits of breathing properly through your exercises. Well, what I'll say too is, I know it's very common. A lot of you may work out on your own. You might already know how to breathe properly. That's great. I know a lot of individuals that tend to hold their breath during an exercise, which can lead to other issues, can lead to injuries. You might get lightheaded, you could pass out, but so breathing properly through exercises is important. As you increase your physical activity, your oxygen demands go up, so that's another reason why the importance of breathing properly through exercises is such a huge factor. Now also, as we go through some of these modified exercises, again, these modified exercises are versions of safer, maybe not necessarily safer, but maybe somewhat safer, easier versions of standard body weight exercises. So I'll explain what that's going to look like. Doing an exercise with improper form is one of the quickest ways to injure yourself or to not get the most benefit out of doing that exercise, even if you don't injure yourself. So doing an exercise properly may require modification. So it may require, depending on what the issue is, it may require doing it a slightly different way to make it a more positive impact on doing that exercise. So just because there are certain modified exercises doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. If anything, most of the time, doing a modified exercise is more beneficial than doing an exercise improperly. So I'll explain what that's going to look like for some of these exercises. So again, these modified versions of the exercise is meant to help prevent injury. One of the best ways to do that, to modify an exercise, is to slow the exercise down. If you do an exercise too quickly, you are, again, more likely to injure yourself or just to do the exercise the wrong way and not get the benefit out of doing it. And you're essentially wasting your time. Proper repetitions. If you're having a hard time getting through the full range of motion properly, reducing the range of motion also one of the best ways you can modify an exercise safely. So, doesn't necessarily mean modification doesn't necessarily mean the exercise will become easy, but it can make the exercise easier. So today's live boot camp isn't meant to be a high intensity thing. We're just going to go through these exercises while also breathing the correct way. Next week, it's hard to believe, is the last full week of July, which is the last full week of Physical Fitness Month. So next week, hopefully you'll be able to join there as well. We'll be going through an even more in-depth look into kind of breathing and meditation and the importance of proper breathing for our health. So today's exercises, what we're going to focus on are some of the main body weight exercises that hit some of the main muscle groups throughout our body. Pretty much all of our main muscle groups we're going to hit today. But again, not meant to be a high intensity workout. This is more so showing you ways that you can do these exercises safely, especially if it's an exercise you're wanting to do but you're nervous to do, or you feel like you're not able to go through a full range of motion. That's okay. I'll show you different ways you can do some of these exercises today. So we're about 5 to 6 minutes past noon here, so we're going to get right into this. There may be a few more that are able to join. Again, thank you so much for joining today. The first exercise we're going to get into, now you see I have a desk over here, I have a chair over here. That's intentional. We're going to be, a couple of the exercises requiring these so I can show you ways you can do an exercise by using the equipment you have around you. More than likely, you're in your office, you're at home, by a home office, or maybe you're at a table. But either way, I'm going to show you some of these exercises we'll go through. We'll do a couple rounds of the exercises, each of the exercises, and I'll explain the importance of the breathing through that. Now, typically speaking, before we get into our first exercise here, breathing through an exercise, the correct way to do that. What's the correct way to breathe through an exercise? Generally speaking, you want to inhale during the relaxation part of the exercise or the easier part of the movement. Now, again, I'll explain that more in just a second. You want to inhale during the relaxation phase of the exercise and exhale during the exertion part of the exercise. So think of exhale, exertion. So think of that kind of X and X combination there. Exhale while you're exerting yourself. So what that would look like for our first exercise, I'll explain, I'll give you an example. First exercise is going to be a modified version of a squat, a bodyweight squat. Now, generally speaking, a bodyweight squat from a standing position, your feet want to be at least shoulder width apart. You want to keep your chest up as tall as you can, and as you squat, your hips are going to come back slightly, and you want to keep your weight throughout the entirety of your foot. If your heel starts coming off the ground, your weight's a little too far forward. So, correct way to do a bodyweight squat, keep your chest up, keep your weight throughout the entirety of your foot, getting to about a 90-degree angle at your knee, and then standing back up tall. Now, for some individuals, getting down to that depth can be tough. So one of the first modifications you can make for a bodyweight squat is just reducing the range of motion, not going down as deep. So what I mean by that is, if you're only able to get down to about a 45-degree angle, and that's where you feel like it's still challenging, but not as dangerous, not as maybe a little more comfortable getting that depth, maybe only going down about halfway and standing back up. Even reducing the range of motion is still greatly beneficial compared to doing it improperly, where you can injure yourself. So that's going to be one of the first ways you can modify an exercise. Now for a squat, what we're going to do for our breathing through this exercise, as we go down into our squat, and the version I'm going to show you here is going to be with a chair. So if you have a chair with you, by you, if you're at your couch, it doesn't really matter as long as you have something that you can sit and stand up off of. So what you're going to do here, the chair I have is the office chair. I'm going to start from my seated position. Feet about shoulder width apart. Again, keeping your heels, your entire foot flat on the ground. Let me move back a little bit so hopefully you can see everything here. Hands on each side. If you have handlebars next to you, or just push off of your seat here, you want to keep your chest up. I'm going to use my hands to assist as I push off, still keeping the entirety of my foot on the ground, stepping up all the way to the top. Now, how we're going to breathe through this, I'll show you here. So as I stand up, that's the harder part of the exercise. That's the exerting part of the exercise. So take a nice deep breath in, and then as you push up, exhale. Standing up tall, inhale as you sit back down, and then repeat that motion. So we'll do 8 reps of this here. Remember, on this exercise, we're going to be inhaling as we sit back down, and then exhaling as we exert ourselves, pushing up off the chair. Now, if you feel comfortable not using the chair and you just want to do a standard bodyweight squat without a chair, that's totally fine. But for today, I'll be showing you specifically modified versions of the exercises. So we're going to go through 8 reps of this together here. So remember, feet at least shoulder width apart, chest up tall, hands pushing off. As you step up, blowing out slowly. Pause for a moment, inhaling on the way down. Blowing out again. 2. I'll let you go through this here as I count. 3. Sitting back safely there, blowing out again. 4. Inhaling on the way down. 5. Sitting back here, chest up nice and tall. 6. Probably still feel your legs working here pretty good. 7. One more. Sitting back in the chair or your couch, or if you're just doing your squat, blowing out one more time. 8. We'll stop there. We will come back to that exercise one more time, but as we're letting those specific leg muscles relax, we are going to go into a modified version. So again, squats are one of the most common bodyweight exercises. Another very common and very effective bodyweight exercise are push-ups. Now, obviously a standard push-up, you're going to be right on the ground. Now, a modified version of that, there are a couple things you can use. You can use your wall. If you want to use a wall, obviously lessens the angle of your body, so there's a lot less force, there's a lot less weight that you're having to push off with your arms. Or if you have a sturdy table, putting your hands on the edge of a table or a chair. So the version I'll be showing you here today, I'm going to have my hands on a table, or if you feel more comfortable putting your hands along the wall, that's okay too. Same thing here. As I push off the exertion part of these push-ups, I'm going to be exhaling. As I lower myself back down, I'm going to be inhaling. So we're going to go through 8 reps of this push-up as well. Keep your abdominal muscles nice and tight, but don't forget to breathe. Nice, steady breathing through this, okay? So hands about shoulder width apart here. Stepping out, you want your body to be straight. So if your hips are starting to dip down or push up, remember, try to keep your body as straight as possible. As I lower down, I'm going to inhale, exhaling on the way up. All right, so easy. Four, 5, inhaling on the way down. 6, 7, one more. 8, there we go. So, use a table, or again, you're along the wall here, same thing. Exhaling as you push off the wall. So we're gonna go back to our chair here. Now that you're starting to get the breathing down, remember, we're exerting as we push off. So, stepping up. 1, 2, 3, we're going through 8 reps again. 4, 5, inhaling on the way down. 6, 2 more. 7, and 8. Now, again, those modified versions of the squats might be a little easy for you. If that was easy, great. Again, if you're able to do a bodyweight squat without sitting from sitting position, that's great too. But remember, the form is what's most important here. You should be able to get down to about a 90-degree angle with the knee, and you should be able to keep your weight throughout the entirety of your foot. We're going to go back to these push-ups one more time here. So remember, hands about shoulder width apart. Feet about shoulder width apart too is going to give you some more stability, keeping your chest and back straight here. You can exhale on the way down. Exhaling on the way up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more. Inhale on the way down, and exhale. 8. Something else that is important with the breathing, or I should say, something else that the breathing is doing that is important. When you're inhaling on the way down, again, that's the relaxation phase of that exercise. When you're blowing out on the way up, what's happening is your diaphragm muscle, the muscle casing that encapsulates our lungs, pretty much everything from our stomach up. So when you are breathing, or I should say when you're exerting your breath out, those muscles are tightening. It's pushing the air out of your lungs. So what's happening there, as your lungs are pushing out that air and those muscles are tightening, that's providing more stability. That's providing more stability to our spine. So the muscles connect all the way around to our back. That's giving more stability to our spine and core muscles, which makes it safer and easier for us to exert more force. So that's why breathing is very important through an exercise, because it's helping to not only provide more oxygen to our muscles and brain, but also it's providing more stability to our entire body, making it safer to do that exercise while also being able to exert more force safely. So that's another really important aspect of breathing through an exercise. Now, our next exercise here, we're going to make our way down to the floor. For now, you don't need the chair or the table, but you're going to make your way down to the floor here. And this is a modified version of a sit-up. So our abdominal muscles, we haven't really hit those yet. Our abdominal muscles here, one of the best ways to hit your abdominal muscles are sit-ups, crunches, leg raises, a lot of those exercises that are really focusing on hitting those abdominal muscles more than anything. Now, a way to modify doing a standard sit-up, for example, if you're doing a standard sit-up, you're gonna have feet on the ground, knees up like this, hands by your chest, and you're gonna sit up. Now, as you're sitting up, you're gonna feel how tough that is. Now, a modified version of this sit-up, you're gonna have your arms extended here above your head. You're gonna use your arms as momentum. So I'm gonna bring my arms up quickly and just tap my fingers to my knees. You feel your abdominal muscles being tight. You tap into your knees and then back out extended. So I'm going to exhale. Exhale on the way up. Inhale on the way back. 2, we're gonna go through 8 reps here. 3, 4, 5, 6, just remember, just tapping our fingers to our knees, bringing our chest up slightly, just enough to where we can reach our knees with our fingertips. 5, 6, 7, 8. So it gives you a little bit of momentum when you're thrusting your arms forward. It's giving you more momentum, which is making it a little bit easier. It's assisting you to sit up more while still working your abdominal muscles. So while we're giving our abdominal muscles a brief break here, we're going to go to our next exercise. We will come back to that one, but remember, as we're going through these exercises, you might be starting to get those breathing techniques that form down. So we're going to do this exercise. I'm actually going to use this table again. Now, this table represents, it could be your desk, it could be your kitchen table or something you have lying around that's stable enough to slightly support your weight. If it starts to flip over, you might want to use something else. But this exercise here is a lunge. Now, a forward lunge with assistance, or a modified forward lunge with assistance of holding onto something is a great way to be able to go through a lunge while also helping to support your weight more. Again, best in first modification, reducing your range of motion. So what I mean by that, if you're going into a forward lunge, you're stepping forward here, and I'll show you from the side. You're stepping forward into a forward lunge, keeping your chest up tall. That back knee comes down toward the floor, and then standing up. A modified version of that, reducing the range of motion, stepping forward, not going down quite as deep. Maybe that's as far as I go, and then I stand back up. The next way we could modify that is using something that we hold on to as we go through that forward lunge. So what I mean by that here, as I step forward, my hand comes to the table, helps to assist my weight and balance, makes it a little bit easier so you're not having to keep your own balance. Stepping forward, maybe even reducing my range of motion, and then stepping back up. So it helps you to push down, or helps you to push off as you're going down and up from that. So we're gonna inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up, because the harder part of this exercise is standing back up from the lunge. So stepping forward, we're gonna inhale, blow out on the way up. So here we go, we're gonna go through 8 reps on each side, then we'll go back to our sit-up, our modified sit-up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, still keeping my chest up here, 7, 8. So blowing out on the way up there. We'll switch to the other side. I'm not going to use the table for this one, but remember, as you're going through this lunge, if you want to use the table, if you stay facing the same side, that's totally fine. You're just switching your feet. So I'm going to be stepping forward now with my other foot. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 more. 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we hit both sides. We're going to make our way back onto the floor here. We're going to go through our modified sit-up one more time. So remember, feet flat on the ground, knees up. I'm going to keep my arms extended the whole time, using that forward thrust momentum, crunching up slightly with my abdominal muscles, touching my knees, and then all the way back to where we started. Remember, exerting that breath, or I should say, expelling that breath on the way forward here. So 1, inhaling on the way back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more, 8. Okay, so I know with the breathing too, that does get the heart going a little bit more. That's going to help keep you warm, or help keep your muscles warmer to increase the blood flow to those muscles. So you might be starting to feel yourself warm up a little bit. That's a good thing. That means not only are you getting more blood to your muscles, but that blood is more oxygen rich now because you're taking in those nice deep breaths through the entirety of that exercise. So we want to keep that oxygen flowing to our muscle groups. We're going to hit this forward lunge one more time, 8 reps on each side here. Here we go. 1, 2, inhaling on the way down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more on this side. All right, we're gonna switch to the other side one more time here. 8 reps, we got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, last 2, 7, and 8. All right, so you're starting to get a hang of it now. Hopefully by now, start to become more muscle memory. So as you go through exercises, it'll start to click a little bit more where your breathing should be during those repetitions. So we'll probably be able to get through these last 2 exercises here. Again, today's most important points were breathing properly through exercises. Again, that's one of the most important ways we are doing it, or one of the most important ways to keep an exercise safe, but also to increase our oxygen demand to those muscle groups, which helps us to be able to do more repetitions safely. So again, a lot of great parts of breathing as far as how that connects to our health, especially during exercise. So last 2 exercises we're going to go through here today. We're going to start now. I'm going to show you a plank variation. There are a number of different ways you can modify a plank. This plank I'm going to show you, I'll help you to get set up with. Now, this one, we still want to breathe through this, but when you're holding a plank, we're static. We're in a static position, so we're not really going up and down. So as you're holding this plank position, just continue to breathe steadily through this. But when you're getting into a plank position, if you could start off hands about shoulder width apart, flat on the ground. You're going to bring your knees off for just a moment, just so you can get to a point where you feel as far stretched out as you can. Now, go ahead and bring your knees back down to the floor. If you want to cross your ankles, sometimes that can help a little bit too, but bring your knees down to the floor here. That way your body's stretched out like it should be properly. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can do this plank position from your hands being on the ground, or you can do it with your elbows and forearms on the ground, keeping your abdominal muscles tight. It requires you to keep your abdominal muscles tight, otherwise your hips are going to fall down to the ground. So we're going to hold this position for about 25 seconds. Remember, continue to breathe through this, keeping your abdominal muscles tight. You really want to focus on inhaling through the nose, going out through the mouth. Helps control our breathing. About 5 more seconds. And relax. Okay, so that was a really great exercise. The plank is one of the best exercises for helping to increase our abdominal strength, our core strength overall. All the muscles around our abdominal, or our stomach, our abdominal muscles, our sides and our back muscles are all working hard to keep our body straight. So that's where the biggest force is on our body. Gravity is pushing down right at about our stomach and hips. So that's where you really want to keep those muscles strong. So now as we're going through this, that was an abdominal exercise, but we were hitting a little bit everything around there. There is another exercise I want to show you while I'm down here on the floor. This is actually considered to be one of the most effective abdominal exercises, a leg raise. Now, a typical leg raise, you're going to lay back flat on the ground, your legs are going to be extended off the floor, and you're just going to raise your legs directly above your hips. Works your abdominal muscles like crazy, your hip flexor muscles like crazy. The version I'm going to show you, a modified version, is pretty simple. All you're going to do is bend your knees at about a 90-degree angle here. Just like this, you can start off your knees directly above your hips, your knees about a 90-degree angle. You can let yourself rest back on the ground, and then you're going to bring your heels down to the floor for a moment, tap your heels to the floor, and right back up to where you started. You're going to feel that as you're bringing your knees up toward you, your abdominal muscles are really getting tight. So exhaling on the way up, inhaling on the way down. Sorry, yes, exhaling on the way up. So we'll go through 8 reps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so that was you're probably starting to feel that by those last few reps, especially those abdominal muscles. So we're gonna go back to our plank one more time. We have enough time to do this plank. So remember, start off initially with your body fully stretched out, knees off the ground. Once you feel like you're at your straightest, longest point, your body's nice and straight, let your knees come down to the floor. You can cross your ankles over, and then hold here either from your hands, your palms on the ground, or bring your elbows and forearms down to the floor here. And then you'll start to feel those abdominal muscles, they have to stay tight to keep your hips from falling. So keep your abdominal muscles tight, continue to breathe. We're gonna hold this about 20 more seconds, so hold tight there. About 20 more seconds here. Nice steady breathing, and remember, focus on keeping your abdominal muscles tight. 6 more seconds. And relax. Okay, nice job. So we're gonna go to our leg raises one more time. Remember, with our leg raises here, we're exhaling as we bring our knees back up, inhaling on the way down. Remember, you're just letting your heels touch the floor, and then we're bringing our knees right back up directly above our hips. So we'll go through 8 reps one more time here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm sure your abdominal muscles are burning. If you were doing that exercise, I'm sure you definitely felt that down there. Now, we're right at about 12:30. That was pretty much the main points I wanted to get across today was, yes, there are plenty of different ways we can modify exercises. Some of the most important ways being reducing that range of motion, or adjusting your angle. Like as I was doing the push-ups on the table or on the wall, adjusting the angle can make it a lot easier to go through some of those exercises safer. And then as you get stronger, you can progress the exercises to make it more difficult. But then of course the breathing, one of the most important parts of today's workout. Breathing through your exercises properly not only helps to make the exercise safer, but it's increasing that oxygen flow to those muscle groups that are working hard to do that specific exercise. So if there's any takeaways from today, breathing properly. Remember, inhaling through the relaxation part, exhaling through the exertion of the exercise. So whatever exercise you're doing, as you're going through the hardest part of the exercise, that's the part where you should be exhaling your breath. Inhaling on the way in, exhaling during the exertion. So that's everything for today. Next Monday, last Monday of our Physical Fitness Month, we'll be going into even more information on our breathing meditation techniques for their benefits of health, or benefits on our health. So thank you so much everyone for joining. It's so great having you again today, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. If you have any questions, feel free to email wellnesscoach@transitchicago.com. So thank you so much again. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful sunny Monday, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.